End to the search for model and influencer Abby Choi.
A severed body has been found in a house.
Found Choi's dismembered body parts in a refrigerator, and
The star's Instagram showed a picture-perfect life.
Financial disputes involving tens of millions of Hong Kong dollars with
The police also found human tissue in pots of soup when they entered a property.
Choi was a mother to 4 children, ages 3 to 10.
28-year-old regularly flashed a flamboyant lifestyle.
3 men were charged in her murder, and they are all expected back in court.
Over the past 2 weeks, the tragic death of Hong Kong model Abby Choi has grabbed and held the attention of international media, and is probably because of the disturbing and sickening nature in which this murder was carried out. I'm just gonna leave a warning here before we get started. This case is extremely upsetting and graphic, so if you are sensitive to topics like these, I suggest that you don't watch the rest of this video. Abby Choi spent the last few years of her life trying to build a name for herself in a modeling career, but unfortunately when you Google her name now, she's less seen as a model and more seen as a murder victim whose life was taken by people that she once considered family and really cared about. Abby led a glamorous life featuring fashion shows and photo shoots. She had over 100,000 followers on Instagram, and her last post was uploaded only 3 weeks ago. Choi had been featured in some well-known international publications and was touted as one of the most sought-after influencers in the industry. The 28-year-old model also balanced her glamorous life with all these photo shoots and being in the public eye with raising 4 children, 2 of which she had with her ex-husband, who later ended up being one of the 7 suspects involved in her murder. A bit more on Abby as a person, she was brought up in a fairly wealthy household along with her 2 sisters. She was always described as a very kind and compassionate person, and actually had a passion for helping animals. She donates to charities regularly, and it was said by people who knew her that she was actually very deserving of the fame and wealth that she obtained in her modeling career. After her most recent divorce, she stayed in contact with her in-laws and still heavily supported them financially, even though they didn't really get along. One of the ways that she supported them was by buying this luxury apartment, which was said to be valued at 75 million Hong Kong dollars for them to stay in. Although recently Abby had decided to sell this property as she decided that she needed money to start investing, which was completely in her right as this apartment did belong to her and it was in her name. So selling it was not a cruel thing to do, as it was also said that she was planning to compensate her family who she had just taken this living space from. So it's not like she was just like selling it and just leaving them to fend for themselves and like figure it out, you know. It was she was in the process of organizing something for them because she had sold this apartment. But this event was unfortunately believed to be the beginning of all this conflict and hatred that developed in the weeks before her passing. It was said that the sale did enrage her ex-father-in-law in specific, and these two continued to have ongoing disputes all the way up until Abby had been reported missing. On the 21st of February, when she had failed to pick up one of her children from school, her husband notified authorities that she had not come home that day. So the police had asked around and ended up contacting her ex-husband and ex-in-laws. Of course, they all denied having any knowledge of where she was or giving any insight into where she could be. On February 24th, only 3 days after Abby had gone missing, some of her remains were found. I'm assuming that they had traced her by looking at the CCTV footage that had come out, some of which included her getting into a car with her ex-brother-in-law, which was actually her driver at the time. It was said that these two were actually pretty close, and he had posted her on his Instagram and she had posted him on her Instagram, so they were very publicly involved with one another, and she had trusted him enough to the point where even after the divorce, she had decided to hire him as her personal driver. So this really shows how much she had trusted him and the family, which is very sad when you look at it in hindsight. There was also some footage found showing him loading up a large plastic bin into the back of his car before picking her up and driving away. The police then decided to track his vehicle, which led them directly to the crime scene. After questioning residents in the area, they were led to a ground floor apartment, which immediately to their attention was completely unfurnished and had nothing in it besides these plastic sheets that were draped over everything in the building. I'm assuming that this was for easy cleanup after they had carried out this plan of theirs. They had also found tools left behind that indicated that Abby was most likely tortured before death. Investigators found a refrigerator, which seemed to be the only normal-looking thing in this apartment. When they opened it up, they found 2 human legs inside. 2 days later, it was announced that they had found more human remains matching the description of Abby Choi. But what is particularly disturbing, and I think what keeps a lot of people talking about this case, is that these remains were found cooked in a pot of soup when they had found it. As of today, her ex-father-in-law and ex-brother-in-law were charged with being directly responsible for her murder. Her ex-mother-in-law was also charged, as she had obviously known about this and decided not to give the police any information and ultimately misled the police in their investigation. And finally, after days of searching, her ex-husband was also arrested. A fifth person was arrested for assisting Abby's ex-father-in-law in renting out the apartment that was purely used to carry out this murder. Unfortunately, there's not much in-depth insight into this case besides the basic facts that I've already stated. Nobody's speaking up, unfortunately, giving out any useful information, and there are still parts of Abby's body that are missing. Although it is said that over 100 officers are constantly on the lookout for more information, and as of today, 7 people have been arrested in relation to Abby's murder. Now, this case is very fast moving, fortunately, and there's a lot of information coming out every day, and there's a lot to keep up with. So by the time this video comes up, there'll probably be more. And on the legal side of things, the hearing has been adjourned till May. We're going to have to wait a couple more months until we get information on that part of the story. But if there are any more updates, I will share them. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe if you enjoyed. This is a really huge change to my channel, and I really hope you guys enjoy this content. I will be trying to post every single week. But yeah.